clearly you enjoy this like as a challenge now, but you said you
Hmm.
started with that fan project back in like university, college, whatever you were doing at the time.
Yeah. Hmm.
Had you always been interested in doing some sort of project like that, or was it just like I want to make an RGB fan?
So I've always been interested in programming and computers,
Hmm.
but maybe not necessarily RGB. My username Calc Programmer One comes from I was I basically learned to program in freshman year of high school by
Hmm.
looking at code on my calculator during class, my TI-84. Um, so yeah, that's where the name comes from.
Hmm.
But then I went into like learn C++, took some courses, and then went into college for computer engineering, and that got me into like microcontrollers. I was on the robotics team, and they were using microcontrollers to
Hmm.
drive motors and such. Um, so I had ordered some parts to just play around with microcontrollers, and I ordered like a servo. I ordered like some RGB LEDs. I ordered some like serial port stuff, an Arduino, some microcontrollers, just some like bits and pieces to play
Hmm.
around with and learn. And so basically, one of the starter projects for microcontroller programming is, can you blink an LED, and then can you use PWM to control the brightness of an LED, and that goes into RGB. And then at the same time I was doing that, I was upgrading my computer.
Hmm.
Actually, it was kind of my home server, and it was the one that I had shown earlier on this instructable page. This
Yep.
was my computer at the time, and I like the idea of the light up fans, but at the time RGB wasn't a thing, so I bought a blue LED fan
Uh-huh.
to put in my computer. And when I got it, one of the four LEDs was burnt out, and I was upset because the LED was burnt out. So I complained to Newegg. They were going to send me a new one. But then I had the idea, I like RGB lights. I've
Hmm.
got this fan that has burnout LEDs and doesn't look good, but I don't know, something went, you could take those LEDs out and put RGB LEDs in,
Hmm.
and then you could use the microcontroller to drive the four LEDs, and then you wouldn't just have a fan, you'd have a cool color changing fan that wasn't a thing at the time. So
I'm just
that was
noticing
the
the DVD drive you have above it as well. Like that just shows the age of that picture.
yeah,
The
this
white
computer
box.
was kind of old.
Mm.
Yeah, I took the parts out of an old white box
Yep,
case to
yep,
put in
yep.
this case. Yeah. So yeah, then I built the fan by putting in the four LEDs and just wiring like analog cables to each one, held down with tape. And then I made this big board that has like 12 different PWM channels, and then it actually also drives the fan speed on the same board.
Hmm.
So that was kind of the where I got into RGB. And then since I had built that, I was like, I don't know, somewhere I found some code to like do a music visualizer.
Hmm.
And I was like, I could make the fan blink to music with that. And I did. And then I built my next computer. I built three more of these to put three of them in my computer and link them all together and have more RGB. And then it just kind of went from there. So it went from that to RGB Christmas lights, and then to what we have now, which is RGB everything.
Mm.
So
Well, right now we're very R. I'm not seeing much of the B and G right now.
yeah, I turned off the effect. We can just turn that back
There you go.
on. So
I've never really been one for like the RGB devices sort of thing.
mm-hmm.
I have red fans in my computer, my keyboard, it's just a rainbow pattern by default. My mouse is
Yeah.
red. It's not the thing that I'm super interested in. If anyone's seen my like
Mm-hmm.
my desktop, they know I don't really care about consistent theming. But I
Yeah.
can totally understand like why if you buy these devices, you want to have like I get the appeal of all
Mm-hmm.
this lighting being synced up together, all this lighting, doing the same sort of pattern or whatever it is you're trying to go for.
Yeah. I think part of the reason that RGB interested me was like, yeah, it's cool that it lights up, but as a programmer, I was always like, it's cooler if I can control it. And
Right.
not only can you like control it, but you could actually do useful things with it. Like we have an OpenRGB hardware plugin where
Okay.
it reads like the temperature of your CPU or something, and you can change it from green to red or something like that. Like you could link up the lights to do more than just be pretty lights. You could actually have them integrate, whether it's a music visualizer or syncing up with the image on your screen, or even like notifying you of an email or a message or something like that. The possibilities are pretty unlimited. So that was kind of why I thought it was cool, was just, now it's cool looking, but then you could do a lot of stuff with it. So.
I hadn't even thought of doing anything productive with it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's like, yeah, no, I guess you could just control your, you could have it set up with your nose, couldn't you? Huh.
Yeah, you could do all kinds of stuff with it. Like any
okay.
kind of state that you would want to possibly display not on your screen, you could theoretically use RGB for, whether it's using an LED strip to indicate like a level or like CPU usage, RAM, temperature, anything like that.